Café Anyway. Welcome to Café Anyway.
It's Mike's Daily Podcast.
Episode 2911. 2911. Mike Matthews here in the land.
Mike's Daily Podcast
of Ameritopia, the last place on earth. Welcome to the show. It's Mike Matthews and the podcast that he does. He sings to you and does a lot of things because he's a podcaster that takes you elsewhere because life can be so strange and interesting and bad and unfair. Did you know that Australia is planning to set a minimum age
Mike's Daily Podcast
for social media use? It's going to be either 14 or 16. So,
Mike's
experts warn
Daily
that could drive
Podcast
children to more dangerous apps.
Yeah!
Instead. Oh no! Speaking of internet things, crypto scams. According to the FBI, Americans were duped out of $5.6 billion by crypto scams last year. That is up 45%, almost half, 50% from 2022. Almost half of all percentages. No, wait, that doesn't make sense mathematically. But yes, it's up 45%. For fraudsters, crypto is an attractive method of fraud. It's fast, decentralized, and lucrative. So, meanwhile, on the internet and part of the whole social media thing, Trump media has plunged more than 17%. However, it went back up again when Trump said he wasn't going to be selling his stock for Truth Social. And let's see, the stock price, though, before he said that was at the lowest ever. Truth Social stock is a bet on the political fortunes of Trump. Next to no revenue and completely dependent on the celebrity of a single person is what Truth Social is. So if you wanna ride that roller coaster, the Trump coaster.
And here's today's podcast picture.
Buy yourself some of that Trump social media stock. The company shares are more than, they were more than 75% lower than late March after the debate. He owns 59% of the stock. It was worth nearly $1.8 billion at one point now. Now not sure, but the stock did go up a bit. Actually it was May 9th. It was worth $6.2 billion. Wow. So that was it. The late great Basil the Boxer. No, the podcast picture is not a picture of him, but of some horses. Some horses that I see all the time. Emma and Dice. When I go on my walk there in PodCastro Valley. In fact, Basil knew both those horses. In fact, Dice chased Basil. And this was later on when Basil's legs were not doing so well. And I had to basically get him out of the way of a charging horse. So I had to pick him up. And then actually the horse's owner helped me a bit to help me escape. But that was an interesting time. But now, horses do outlive dogs, usually, on average. But I petted Dice and Emma recently and said hi to them. See that picture at mikesdailypodcast.com. I saw something, speaking of Trump, I guess he was recently in San Mateo doing a fundraiser. He hates California, it would seem, but he needs to come here for the ATM machine. He gets him some money.
The word of dog.
Oh yeah, and here's the late great Basil the Boxer complaining about horses chasing him. It's supposed to be the other way around, he says. But yes, so he was recently in the Bay Area. He was in Southern California. He made that comment about how he's not going to give any more money to California to fight fires, wildfires. I forget what the reason was, but that's kind of like a big white what? You're not? Okay. Do you remember what happened to George W. Bush and Katrina? And all the problems he had because he wasn't doing enough. So, whatever. Cafe, whatever. The point is, that Taylor Swift used social media to endorse Kamala Harris, as you well know by now. She has $283 million. Followers, not dollars. She's got way more money than that. Whoa. You would imagine.
Mike's Amusement Park.
It's an amusement park of news, is what it
The
is.
panel will close automatically. Please remain seated at all times.
The roller coaster of the Mike's Daily Podcast. But Taylor Swift has more than 94 billion streams. And I think that would be on Spotify. So she's got all these streams going on Spotify if you go there and listen to her music. Remember once upon a time she didn't want her music on Spotify? And she has 94 million listeners. I'm sure there was some monetary deal worked out with her and Spotify to make that go away. So she's got all these listeners. Oh, so see, each stream is for a listener. I see how that works. Spotify. So that showcases how huge her impact could be. 283 million followers. The billionaire Taylor Swift endorsed Kamala Harris with 8.4 million likes on Instagram when she did that. And she also included in that the address to the website where you go to get registered to vote. And that website had a record number of people going to it after she did that. Fake AI images and videos will be a problem going forward. Taylor noted that AI of her falsely endorsing Donald Trump, she noted that had happened, and she wants to be very transparent, wants to call it out when she sees it. And she signed it the childless cat lady, little zinger towards Mr. J.D. Vance, who will not rescind that comment he made about how childless cat ladies shouldn't be allowed to make any. Now, his point was, if you understand it and listen to right-wing media, his point was that he doesn't see why family-type laws that are supposed to help parents, are being signed or taken away or amended by people that are childless cat ladies. Now, I'm a childless cat man at this point, so anyway, Café Anyway, just to make that label, and back to San Mateo, somebody was holding up a sign when Trump was visiting. Don't think he saw it, but the sign said, "Donald Trump ate my cat." It's a big joke. Social media reaches an important voter, and that particular person that is reached by social media is people under 35. So there is that voting base. And I was voting when I was under 35. So there is definitely people out there voting under that age. Now, some years they didn't.
Mike's Out of Left Field Recordings.
Recording everything captures actions that will never again be repeated.
It would be not out of left field for you to probably agree with me that in 2016, a lot of younger voters did not vote. In fact, I knew one in particular. We used to have conversations about it. He said, "No, I'm not going to vote." I'm like, "Well, you don't want Trump to win." "Yeah, but I'm not going to vote." "Well, he is going to win if you don't vote." "No, I'm not going to vote." There was so much apathy going on that year. Then it all changed. 2020 rather. A lot of younger people came out to vote. That may have been why Trump lost, but it comes and goes. When Clinton won, he had a lot of young. Bill Clinton had a lot of young voters vote for him. Selena Gomez, The Rock, Justin Bieber, Kim Kardashian, and Beyonce all have more Instagram followers. If they want to weigh in, we'll see what happens. They say if Beyonce endorses Kamala.
And now we return you to our regularly scheduled program with Mike Matthews.
It's Good Night Doctor. And I hear white people, older white men, going, "It doesn't matter what pop stars say." Oh, yes, it does. Then you do not have your finger up in the air, catching the wind of change that has happened in our social media pop world. Right now, Trump has got the wife of that big-time quarterback that endorses him. There's Kid Rock, Hulk Hogan, Charlie Kirk, who's this young, up-and-coming right-winger. There's a bunch of old white guys. Anyway, Café Anyway. The point is, as I have said on this podcast, may I repeat myself? And I hate when talk show hosts go, again. I'd like to say this again. And I'm going to say that.
All the things.
Like,
We are warriors.
like she said, Becky Pringle said all the things about 50 times. I just played her twice saying it, but she said all the things about, wow, it went on and on and on. I'm not that big of a fan of speakers that repeat themselves, and I do not like to do that. Of course, if you really want to make your point, you repeat yourself. But then, if you repeat yourself too often, you become background noise because people have heard it before. It's like when people listen to Top 40 radio or popular radio. They're hearing the same, for example, Taylor Swift song or Beyonce song over and over and over again, to the point that they don't even know that they're listening to it. It's background music. I hate being background music, but that's what sometimes is in the world of listening. There is that to contend with. So if you...
Mr. President, are you suggesting President Biden's using cocaine?
I don't know what he's using, but that was not... Hey, he was higher than a kite. And by the way, it was the worst address I've ever seen. State of the Nation. I'll tell you, State of the Union, that's not State of the Union because he doesn't represent us properly. That I can tell you.
And now that's not the one who's running against that guy. It is Kamala. So, as Kamala said, I am not Joe Biden. I'm certainly not you. But in the end, it's people, and this is the repeating part, where they look at their wallet and they see how much money they have and how much it costs to eat out and how much it costs to buy things at the grocery store and how much it costs for anything. And they go, ooh, okay, I'm going to vote for Trump because I want to change. I don't know how well Kamala is delivering the change message on her side. It's brilliant. She's there, but she's also she's still working for Joe Biden. How did it work for Hubert Humphrey in 1968? Not so good. So there is that. We'll see. If it all changes, history changes, big things, upheaval happen constantly. But here we go.
The Fascinating Material Project.
It is Mike Matthews fact-checking himself, though politicians never do that, but I just want to make sure it was Hubert Humphrey. I was alive in 68, but I was alive, I think, post-election, because I was born in late November. So he was the vice president, 38th vice president, and it mentions nothing here. Oh, yeah, Lyndon B. Johnson was the president at the time. Even 90s.
A fine article.
You silly, great, fat article.
This is fascinating material, and this is a fine article that is, even with 95 million followers on X, Taylor Swift did not post there, interestingly enough. Yes, a fine article. Fascinating material. Tesla CEO Elon Musk wrote, "Fine, Taylor, you win. I will give you a child and guard your cats with my life." Wow. That is creepy and weird, as many, many, many users of X then replied and said that, Elon, dude, read the room. And it's wow. Read the world. What the heck? I'm sorry I don't have my lovely lady friend here, but if she heard that, wow, I do not think she would agree with thinking that was anything. She would not be applauding it, let's just say. Creepy and weird, though. That seems to be a lot of that going on that's getting attached to the right-wing media or right-wingers Or is that how the left wingers are painting it in the legacy media? It depends on what you're listening to or watching. So Americans distrust elite media, and that is Carol Platt-Liebau that says Americans deserve a more balanced debate than they got from ABC. She says the moderators fact-checked former President Trump 4 times, but never fact-checked Vice President Harris, and at least one fact-check was factually incorrect. Trump may have made...
We love you, Mike.
14 false statements. Says Carol Platt-Liebau, a right-winger. Trump may have said 14 false statements, even admits it, but she admits it because she says this. But Harris made 16 false statements, while the moderators pressed Trump 6 times for follow-ups. They didn't press Harris at all. Not once. That's not the only place the fix was in. Because the fix was in. Because I'm Edward J. Robinson? Edward, anyway. Café Anyway. I'm an old-timer actor trying to act. The question was the moderators selected, including about race, the last presidential election, and January 6th, that was designed to make Trump look extreme. But yeah, okay, Carol, but yes, it is part of his history.
Woo!
Issues unfavorable to Harris, like taxpayer-funded sex exchange operations for illegal immigrants, were carefully avoided. She takes umbrage that wasn't discussed. Sex change operations. ABC is obviously in the tank for Harris. Are they? They cut off Harris many, many times during that debate. Just cut her off. I don't know if they advertised kombucha, but they cut off Harris and they let Trump go an extra couple minutes, let him have his say. I disagree with Carol about that. Carol Platt-Liebau. The media shouldn't act surprised Americans no longer trust them. The media. What media? She just says the media. Does that mean all media is left-wing, including the media she is often heard on? Townhall.com? Or if she pops up on Newsmax, is that no longer trusted by Americans? Or Fox? This is ridiculous. The people get so ridiculous during election years. The magnification of idiocy. Okay, of idiocracy. Let's jump over here to the Washington Post real quick. Because Donald Trump and his allies have increasingly rallied around an explanation for his lopsided debate loss on Tuesday night, and they call it the lamestream media. ABC's news moderators David Muir and Lindsay Davis's move, which Trump was like, I don't like that David Muir anymore. And that Lindsay Davis,
travel into the incredible universe.
She's full of anger. She really hates me. Do you see how much she hates me? And David Muir, his hair used to be great. It's not as good as it was. Not as good. Definitely bad, his hair. Like he is one to talk. But anyway, Café Anyway, the thing is, ABC's news moderators, David Muir and a few occasions for, as Carol Platt-Liebau pointed out, has engendered the most pushback. Trump and his allies, who just say, trust me, bro, with everything that the crazy things, the 14 false statements he made. And then you got Kamala with 16 false statements.
Cutting corners, corner.
The cutting corners corner. Okay, here's how you cut corners. Well, you save money, money-saving tip. Here you go. Make waffles. Make a bunch of waffles on the weekend and then freeze them, or you can just keep them in your fridge. They're good for a couple of days. But if you want to keep them for a long period of time, freeze them. And then pop them in your toaster. Voila! You have delicious waffles in the morning. A nice little treat for you. And to make them even healthier, add hemp parts to them. You can also add, what's that stuff? Chia seeds. Magnify it with chia seeds. There's also flaxseed. There's wheat germ. There's all kinds of little things you can put into the flour to make it good. I say avoid walnuts because it doesn't cook as well. It doesn't cook as entirely. And you end up with a splitting apart waffle. It doesn't come out solid. And therefore you cannot toast it as well because you need a solid waffle. My point is that's a cutting corner. Okay, so the whole thing is the Trump and his allies have pitched the event as being 3-on-1.
Kids, it's me. Do-Re-Mi the Clown.
Do-Re-Mi the Clown was even saying it was 3-on-1 rather than being a head-to-head clash with Kamala. Even some conservative Trump critics have taken some issue, suggesting Harris should have been fact-checked too, as you heard from Carol Platt-Liebau. It's a difficult subject, and many moderators, like CNN's in June, their moderators, choose not to inject themselves in any way. For those interested in the debate over debate fact-checking, there's this, let's see, Glenn Kessler, he correctly notes that there is no comparison between the amount of misinformation Trump puts out. It's ginormous, the amount of misinformation puts out, and that of Harris. And Muirs and Davis's fact checks, the moderators of the ABC debate, avoided some pitfalls from the past. Interestingly, they were being careful. So a post-debate YouGov poll found that registered voters said by double digits, it is magnified, that the moderators were fair and unbiased, while 43% said that. Then there was also 29% that said that the moderators were biased towards Harris's favor, and 4% said they were biased in Trump's favor. There was a big partisan split, with 55% of Republicans saying the moderators were biased to Harris's favor. So what is interesting is that, and this article goes on from Washington Post, that even during the Biden-Trump debate, where it was so bad for Biden that people still thought Republicans believed that it was biased towards Democrats. Republicans for years, decades, perceived the mainstream media as being biased against their side, to the point where a Reuters poll in July showed 70% of Republicans agreed with the statement the mainstream media is biased and should be punished. So that is, apparently you never ever win, even if you're a moderator. Hugh Hewitt, who is a right-wing talk show host, he was part of one of the debates for the Republican candidates, and Vivek Ramaswamy even went after him and noted that, hey, he shouldn't be one of the moderators up here. It should be Elon Musk. There was that one moderator for Fox that got in a bunch of trouble because he was being too hard on Trump, even though he's from Fox. So I wouldn't want that job, that gig, no way. Because of the, you get it from, you definitely, unless you just don't care. But if you want to keep being popular with Republicans, let's say you're big on a right-leaning radio station or TV station, then you probably don't want to be a moderator, because Republicans end up hating you, is what I've discovered. Outside of Café Anyway, somewhere in PodCastro Valley, the last place on earth, look who's here. Hello, Mike Matthews. It's Chely Shoehart, gift shop supervisor. Mike Matthews, all of that stuff was very interesting, and I do like to make waffles. Excellent. What do you use in your waffles? Snow globes. Ah, that would make sense, because the snow globes are actually eggs. You've gotten them confused somehow over the many podcasts that we have done. Mike Matthews, they're not the same. Just this egg here says snow globe on it, Mike Matthews. That's right. And when you break it open, there's not snow, but yolk. That's right, Mike Matthews. It's very confusing. But we've somehow made it clear on this podcast towards the end. The very important part of the podcast, which is always at the end, because I get to talk to the podcast players, the Café Anyway characters. And here's some more. Oh, Mike, this is Floyd the Floorman. And this is John Deere, the engineer. Mike, I heard that perhaps the biggest clash between Trump and a debate moderator came 9 years ago, shortly after Trump launched his first campaign with someone from Fox News, Megyn Kelly. She asked some very tough questions at a GOP primary debate. Yes, that was the one where she started the debate by invoking his past disparaging remarks about women. And Trump said something about Kelly and a very not nice thing about her. And it's something related to being a woman. And I'm not going to repeat it.
Call Mike at the Café Anyway hotline. Area code 510-228-4640.
And with all things Mike's Daily Podcast, we go now to the mainframe and hear from A-Frame. Thank you for listening.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com.
Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com.
See you tomorrow. Bye.